Hey, what's up guys? My name's Noah G and welcome to episode 5 of Noah's Gaming Show, and today we are talking about what's Game of the Year so far in 2017. Now, it's been a hell of a year. We've had 3 great quarters of games, but there's been 3 games in particular that have really stood out to me and are really all vying for the number 1 spot. Now, I want to go officially on the record and say that 2017 is without a doubt one of the greatest years in gaming history, probably one of the best years for games ever. No matter what kind of game you like, no matter what kind of genre you like, 2017 has had something for everyone, and I mean everyone. Do you like RPGs? Because Horizon Zero Dawn and Mass Effect Andromeda and Persona 5 all came out this year. Do you like action adventure? Well, that means you probably picked up Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Maybe you're a fighting game fan and you've been drowned with the amount of great fighting games like Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Tekken 7, the list goes on. Like, 2017 is so great, and there's so many great games that it's hard to really pick just one. But it's time we had to talk, and it's not that talk you're thinking about, so get your mind out of the gutter. It's time to get down to brass tack about what game has won my heart so far. But I said this earlier, it's hard to choose just one. Now, I want to reiterate that these are the games that I think are the best ones of 2017 so far, so we might have different opinions, but that's okay. But let me make my argument as to why these 3 are totally in the running for Game of the Year. Now, the way I chose these 3 is that I thought about what moved me more. What was a game that I thought everyone needed to experience? What changed the game or brought something new to the table? And finally, what left that certain itch that made you want to go back and back again? Now, without further ado, let's dive in. At number 3, I have Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Now, one thing you should know about me is that I love the Uncharted series. I love the whole franchise. It's honestly my favorite franchise / series of all time. If there's one thing you should know, is that Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all tied for my number 1 game of all time. Yes, all 4 of them, because I did that. Now, this might be a little biased, but I honestly don't believe. I look at these games with an open and critical mind. But Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is truly something special and awesome. It's the start of something beautiful. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is everything a game should be. It's touching, it's moving, it has memorable characters that grow throughout the story. It's gorgeous, and above everything, it's a blast to play. Now, I won't lie, when I first picked it up, I was like, wow, Uncharted without Nathan Drake? This is madness! But after that first conversation in that marketplace, I was sold on it. Chloe and Nadine are great characters that can hold their own and set a blueprint for what the Uncharted franchise could be. The gameplay is that pulp action adventure that we've all have come to know and love. The Lost Legacy does a great job at separating itself from every other Uncharted game by not only focusing on new characters, but having a bigger emphasis on stealth gameplay. Apart from that, developer Nioh experiments with huge open areas that give you room to tackle enemies and objectives in any way you really want to, giving you more freedom than any other Uncharted game has given you. But let's be honest here, alright? Let's keep it real. We all know that Uncharted's bread and butter is its story, and I'm proud to say that this story is amazing. Chloe and Nadine's relationship bring a whole new dynamic that Uncharted fans have never seen before. The way their character arcs progress is natural and unforced. It's great to see them butt heads, and it's great to see that they end up as totally different people by the end of the story. As I'm recording this, I'm thinking back to the moments that I loved most about the story. And honestly, they're the ones where the characters took unexpected turns. Because I'd be lying if I said I didn't shed a tear throughout my journey. There are some genuine, heartfelt, and emotional moments in The Lost Legacy. So if you haven't checked out Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, you need to. It's an Uncharted game through and through. At number 2, we have Injustice 2. And I didn't do that just to be like funny. No, Injustice 2 is probably my second favorite game of the year. With no pun intended. But throughout my entire gaming life, I have never been a fighting game guy. The closest I've ever gotten to being in love with a fighting game is Super Smash Bros. But aside from Super Smash, I've always gotten my ass handed to me no matter what fighting game it was. Killer Instinct, get my ass kicked. Street Fighter, get my ass kicked. The list goes on and on. There's just so many mechanics and combos that I just can't even hang with. I can't even deal. So trust me, I was really surprised when I fell in love with Injustice 2. Remember, I'm not a fighting game guy, but something about Injustice 2 caught my eye, and I'm still hooked. I'm still in love with this game. The reason I love Injustice 2 so much, and why it's so high up on my list, is because I think it's the perfect fighting game. Now, what defines a perfect fighting game? Well, in my opinion, it's a fighting game that's accessible to newcomers, one that doesn't turn you away from wanting to try something new. It's one that slowly introduces players to mechanics and how all the wheels and cogs turn. On top of that, though, it's fast-paced, it's energetic, the fights feel like something straight out of comic books. On top of all that, Injustice 2 has set the bar for every single fighting game from here on out to strive for. It has become literally the gold standard. I don't know why I said literally, but I did. That's pretty high praise, right? You're probably thinking, well, it's just a fighting game. There can't be that much to it. You couldn't be more wrong. Injustice 2 is packed with content on top of content on top of content. If you're looking for a game that will last you a good 6 months to a year, this is the game. It has a robust and deep and super surprisingly well-produced single-player campaign. It honestly sets the bar for every game like here on out. That's why I keep saying it's the gold standard. It's a great story, and these cutscenes are so unprecedented. I haven't seen cutscenes like these in a long time. Like, I can think of games like Uncharted, The Last Legacy. Yo, this game is up there. I'm struggling to find the words, but like when you see these cutscenes like with the facial animations, it's insane. It's out of this world. But apart from that, though, it's a great story. It's fun to see all these characters go head to head, really beating each other up. Now, it's not like the story's gonna win any awards, but for what it is, it's just a great excuse for all these characters to come together and beat the living crap out of each other in tremendous fashion, I might add. Aside from its awesome campaign, you can also do like single player fights, which are kind of like little tournaments so that you can practice and get better, but you can also do stuff in the multiverse. Now, the multiverse is something super cool. You can go in there and it's like different worlds, and you can pick which world you do, and each world has a different modifier. So it really like takes everything like you think you know about the game and adds like a different layer to the combat. It allows you not only to get better, but to earn great rewards. Because speaking of rewards, you can earn some really awesome gear for your characters in this game. What I think is super unique about the gear system in this game, and why I think it's an awesome addition to the Injustice franchise, is that it really makes your character feel your own. No two Batman, no two Superman, no two Supergirl, no two Green Arrows should look the same. Everyone has like something that defines their character, right? Maybe you want to have a Green Arrow Robin Hood hat, or you want to have like a Batman, visor that covers up his entire face. Whatever it may be, your character really makes you feel your own. So if you really get attached to a certain character, you can grind out gear for that character and make him look super awesome and retro. So after you get your gear, after you do the campaign, you practice up a little bit, you can go straight into online play. Maybe you want to take it more seriously, you want to go into ranked play, which is probably my favorite part about this game, right? Because ranked games are, trust me, they are addictive and they will make you rage, but damn it if they're not fun. And speaking of fun, none of the things that I've said so far would matter if the game wasn't fun to play. After 85.6 hours played in this game, trust me, it still is as fun as when I first started playing it. The reason I'm so addicted to this game, and actually I don't even want to say addicted because that sounds like so bad. There's got to be a better word. How about, okay, enthralled. Yeah, that sounds good. That's good enough. The reason I'm enthralled with this game is that each fight makes you better. There's something about watching your skills in this game grow with each match. The reason I like this game so much is because when I think back to when I first started this game to the way I'm playing now, totally different player, right? And that's because each fight teaches you something, whether it be how to block, when to be aggressive, when to be passive, or whatever. And it's fun to find the character that works for you, the one that fits your playstyle, and really like find out the kinks of them and find the ins and outs and what makes them tick. If you're looking for a fighting game that's easy to get into, that's fun to play from the get-go, then this is a game for you. But if you're also looking for a game that challenges you, that's deep, that you need to put the work in and be a great player, then this is also a game for you. And that's why Injustice 2 got my number 2 spot. And at the number 1 spot, the game to beat this year, and as I look forward to the fall games, I don't see any other game beating this, but it's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What can I say about Breath of the Wild that will do it justice? Because honestly, this game reinvents the way games are played. It's an unforgettable experience, and it's so much so that it takes the number 2 spot on my favorite games of all time. Because in my opinion, nothing can beat Uncharted, but Breath of the Wild is so fucking close. As I'm finding the words to describe this game, I'm starting to realize there aren't enough words in the English language to describe how much of a masterpiece this game is. I would literally have to make up some new, crazy words. Breath of the Wild is a game that lets you do what you want to do. It's a game where possibilities are endless. If you think you can do it, you can probably do it. If you're probably cooking a dish and you throw some peppers in it, thinking that'll help you out against cold weather, it does. They give you like a boost to your cold resistance. If you're fighting enemies near a campfire and you're like, well, maybe if I shoot this arrow through the campfire, it'll catch fire, and then it'll hit the grass, and the grass can catch fire and create this little barrier so they can't get through. Guess what? It does. Those little small touches are what make this game so unique. The best way to describe Breath of the Wild is that it's primarily your adventure. Yes, your own, nobody else's. No two players will have the same experience and encounters you had. What I think is so great about this game, and it's hard to pick, which one's the greatest because there's just so many great parts to this game. But I love that this game respects the player. It trusts the player that they're smart enough to figure things out on their own. And that's something we don't see in mainstream games. We usually have this huge long tutorial where everything holds in our hand, shows how to do every little thing. No, Breath of the Wild trusts and respects that you're smart enough to figure everything out on your own. It basically throws you into the world of Hyrule and says, alright, here you go, figure it out. We know that you got this. And that's something that is part of the beauty of Breath of the Wild. Because you're not constantly told being what to do. It's basically just up to you to figure things out. And how many games have done that? Like, how many games do that and respect the player in that way? Not many, in my opinion. Breath of the Wild is brimming with things to do. It's brimming with life. Remember when I said you can do anything you wanted? Well, you can. Do you want to do some mini dungeons and solve some puzzles? Well, go to one of the 120 shrines that you can do to get your fix in. Do you need health buffs or do you need health in general? Then hit the campfire stove and cook some food. Mix and match ingredients that you think would work and test it out. The cooking minigame in Breath of the Wild is actually pretty unique because I said that it does encourage you to mix and match ingredients. And that's kind of cool because it's really up to you to figure it out. So one moment you'll probably be like throwing in some eggs and some like bell peppers or something. And then you'll magically make an omelet that gives you resistance to cold. Or another time you'll throw in some wheat, you throw in some like fish. And it'll give you like some sushi rolls that bump up your stamina. Like that stuff is like super cool and it's like super unique. And I haven't seen that in any other game this year. I mean, not that a bunch of games had cooking in them, but still, it's cool. Now, maybe you just want to explore, and you just want to explore till the sun comes up. Well, you can. I can't tell you the number of times that I would just pick a random direction and then just go. And along the way, I would find cool mini-bosses, lost cities and treasure, and a bunch of other things. Breath of the Wild is all about exploration and taking in the world at your own pace. And the combat is simple but challenging. Well-timed dodges will trigger a slow-mo time that lets you rush your enemies. Or like weapons have a certain number of like durability, meaning that if after a few encounters it'll eventually break and you can no longer use it. And I thought I'd hate this mechanic, but I was actually constantly finding really cool weapons and new swords, axes, bows, and shields that I ended up not carrying. And the enemies are tough. Some can even one-shot you, so it's important to actually think about your strategy and go in like using buffs and everything. And I probably should have mentioned this in the exploration part a while ago, but the coolest aspect, probably my favorite aspect of this game, is the ability to climb everything in the world. Anything is up for grabs. That may not sound super awesome on paper, but after a few hours of playing with this quote-unquote superpowers I call it, it will be hard as fuck to go back to any other game. I tried going back to Horizon after playing Breath of the Wild, and I'm really glad that I played Breath of the Wild before Horizon Zero Dawn. But man, just not having the ability to climb whatever I wanted in that world just made me so appreciative that Breath of the Wild lets me do that. In the end though, no other game this year has recreated that sense of wonder and awe that Breath of the Wild has for me. And it's hard for me to pick one sole moment that stood out for me, because in reality, I had so many. I would need at least 20 more hands to count how many great moments I had. Whether it be pulling out the Master Sword or riding my first dragon, Breath of the Wild never ceased to amaze me. It never failed to reach new heights each time I played. Breath of the Wild embodies everything a game should be. It's a game that reinvents the wheel, that really changes the way we play and conceive games. Now that I think about it, it's really a blueprint for any other RPG open world game to follow. Because after playing Breath of the Wild, I just can't even think about going back to a world where I just can't climb anything I want. And that's it, guys. Those are my 3 games of the year so far, my top 3 I should say. But let me know what's your favorite game of the year. What's the game to beat in your eyes? And that wraps up episode 5 of Noah's Gaming Show, guys. Thanks for watching again this week. I'll be here next Friday, as always. Please let me know what I can improve on in the comments below or what you'd like to see. And until then, my name's Noah, and good vibes.